Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We are popular tonight. Here we go. So, at this point, I would ask our city clerk, Ms. Barr, to take the roll call.
Councilmember Dean.
Here.
Councilmember Lowe. Here. Councilmember Gurney.
Here.
Vice Mayor Wellander.
Here.
Mayor Farrar-Rivas.
Here.
Thank you.
So there was no closed session tonight, so therefore there is no report on a closed session. Now at this point, then I'll move on to asking if we have any, if the council members would like to make any changes to the agenda. And if not, I'd like a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve.
And a second.
I second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, so this is the time when we will be taking comments from the public. I'd appreciate it if when you approach, you come to the podium and just announce your name and just make a statement that you would like to make. Those, you will have 2 minutes to make those statements. Is there anybody at this point that would like to make a comment for an item? Yes.
It'll be very quick.
Okay.
Council members, my name is Jesse Ortiz, and I'm here on behalf of over 100 neighbors who will be adversely affected by the proposed 50 to 60 unit townhouse project at the corner of 5th Street East and Napa Road by the City Ventures Company. I wish to put on record that the neighborhood expects the City Council and the Planning Commission to be transparent and forthcoming in a timely manner regarding any and all motions or actions in connection with the annexing, rezoning, and the future development of the said property site. I wish to be clear that the neighborhood will remain vigilant and concerned by the scale, the size and scope of the proposed project. That's all I've got to say, and I'll be saying it again at the Planning Commission meeting in a few weeks. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Ortiz. Is there anybody else who would like to make a public comment at this moment? All right. Seeing none, trying to give a little time in case people have to get up and get through the crowd. Do we have any meeting dedications this evening? Having none, we will move on to council members' reports and comments. I think what I'm going to do is go to Council Member Lowe at this point.
Thank you. First off, I would like to make an appointment to the Historic Preservation Commission. I would like to appoint Christine Sanders, who has applied for this position. And then secondly, I just would like to report that we had a LAFCO meeting today, and we approved the annexation to the county sanitation district, 2 parcels, which will house the new firehouse on Arnold Drive. And I thought that was really important for everyone to know that with the monies from Measure H, a new firehouse will be built, a professional, fully staffed firehouse on Arnold Drive, just down from Juanita, if you know the area. And that will increase the response time to the valley by, they said 90%. So it's very exciting. So it's just a little thing to be able to approve hooking up to a sanitation district. Didn't really take much comment, but since it's going to affect so many people in the valley, I thought I'd share that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Councilmember Gurney.
I would just like to report that on the 29th of October, I attended the Sonoma Valley Tourism Improvement District meeting, and it was a special meeting to award grants to organizations that had submitted applications. And the purpose of these grants is to generate attendance and occupancy of local hotels. And there were 12 community grants awarded. And then, of course, 2 heritage grants, which they award every year, include Vintage Festival and the 4th of July. And they granted a total of $75,000. And then also on the 29th, I attended the Sonoma Valley Community Roundtable sponsored by the Santa Rosa Junior College. And we met at the community center, and we discussed a number of aspects of the relationship in the Sonoma Valley to the junior college. And they were really discussing with a number of nonprofit organizations, other community leaders, about how we can collaborate to ensure the college's academic programs align with the evolving local workforce needs. What role can the community organizations, businesses, and local policymakers play in reducing equity gaps in student success and the basic needs? And then also how the college can make higher education more accessible and better known to students and the community, and how the Sonoma Valley might work collaboratively to cultivate a culture at Santa Rosa Junior College that models inclusivity and sustainability. So it was an interesting meeting, and the college is going to be going around the county to other communities and having the same kind of roundtable workshop. So it was interesting.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Wellander.
Yes, I have 2 items I'd like to report on. I had the opportunity back on October 22nd to attend a celebration at Lake Mendocino. The event was focused on the milestone of creating new form of evaluating how to either retain the water in the reservoir or to let the water downstream. It's a project that has been on the books for about 10, 12 years. It's been a joint effort between Sonoma Water, Lake Mendocino, and the Corps of Engineers. And I know that I have been critical of how slow sometimes the wheels of bureaucracy turn, but I was very happy to see that those wheels did get to a conclusion. And now the Corps of Engineers will be basing the release of waters not on the old 3-ring binders that had documented historical data for the last 60 years, but they're going to be tapping into the Scripps Institute as well as NOAA in terms of the greater modeling and data, so that they will be able to either hold back or release with much more accurate information. Apparently, a number of years ago, the Corps released a lot of water, and we did not get the rain that was predicted, and as a result, it caused some problems. So again, this is a time in which this is the first reservoir that is using this new data in the nation, and we believe that this is going to be an influence on many more reservoirs across the states, and including Lake Sonoma. The second item, I attended the Water Advisory Commission on Monday, and again, it's a similar topic. I'm happy to report that as we now experience today, we're off on the beginning of a good rain season, and they were pleased with that. I believe one individual said that if you haven't done it already, you can turn off your irrigation control clocks. And the other item that came up is that it appears that the only impact that is coming relative to the water topic from the things of going on in Washington is that the feds have stopped the funding of some restoration work that's being done along Dry Creek. Hopefully that will get refunded in the not-so-distant future. And those are the two items I wanted to share.
Thank you very much. And now we're going to go to Councilmember Jack Ding. I think he has
Thank you,
something
Mayor.
exciting to tell us about.
Yes, really, really exciting. And the last couple of weeks, and I joined our local sister cities delegation to visit the China sister city, Penglai. I think some of you know this relationship was initiated by our local winery owner, Fred and Nancy Klein, and 15 years ago. Since day one, and our group, Sister City Association, and the Sonoma and the Penglai Committee members working hard and try to improve relationship between Sonoma and the Penglai. Penglai is a small city in China. This is small, that means according to our standard. Actually, this is a wine country with a population of 500,000 people. But still it's small, but it's very, very beautiful. And also, it has a nickname, so-called Fairy Land. It's so beautiful, yeah. I think that some of you to visit there in the future. And under the delegation, under the leadership of the committee chairperson, that is the Peggy, Palin, and Rubens. Yeah, she got married, and Rubens. And our group total is 5 people. If we added Sacramento area and the members, total we have 9 people. So to visit there. And we also visit 2 local vendors who possibly will help us and build our team and pavilion, Chinese pavilion in Depot Park, which was approved in 2020. And during the pandemic, we postponed it, but right now we started. We got enough financial reserve and tried to find qualified vendors helped us, yeah, because in China they specialize in this kind of structure and the building. Yeah, we visit a couple of them, are recommended by the local government. It's a pretty good experience. And also, and the second part of our delegation, Sonoma was invited by China and America sister cities and conference, and in Hangzhou, it's 100 miles away from the Shanghai, and 9 of us joined the conference. I was very honored to be selected as the speaker for that is a conference. I introduced our city of the Sonoma, Sonoma's history, Chinese labor's contribution, and also I mentioned about our team project. Well received, and we are very happy. And also, I brought back a gift from our sister city in the Penglai. And in honor, I represent the mayor to accept this. This is an active carbon and art carving, and that is activated and the cultural,
Oh, it's beautiful. I'm accepting on behalf of the city. This is beautiful.
Yeah, that's a beautiful
This will go, we have actually 2 display cases, one
Yeah.
outside in the lobby, and we also have one on the 2nd floor of
Oh, yeah.
City Hall.
Yeah.
There we go.
That is the symbol of the city, next to the ocean. Yeah, just cross our Pacific Ocean. This is very
nice.
And for me, I represent. I bought it from the our local author, that is the Barbara the White and Perry, and ink join Sonoma joins, and also it's matched with this. Yeah, hopefully they will accept it. Here I want to say, although on the 2 states and the government level, state level, they cannot get along each other. the trade war, but people to people relationship keep going on, the friendship, understanding. That is my duty. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Oh yeah, I put this together.
Did you have any other reports? I know you've been gone. Oh, thank you. Councilmember Ding, do you have anything else to report?
I don't have anything
Okay.
else.
That's
And
enough. That's a good
I
report.
forgot its name. It's the charcoal. Yeah, charcoal.
Charcoal.
Yeah, charcoal activated the charcoal art. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for representing us so
Thank you.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should initially invite you,
Okay.
but you have another.
Right, it's been
Yeah.
an active trip month. So, so my report is on, in regards to Sonoma Clean Power. I'm on the board of Sonoma Clean Power. Unfortunately, we were working with the County Board of Supervisors with Lake County to extend the Sonoma Clean Power to Lake County, and they voted not to consider this this move at this time. I'll get an update on this tomorrow. I'll be in the board meeting again tomorrow. So that was in December 2nd. These are a little late, some of them, since I wasn't able to attend the meeting last month. They also, because I think there was a number of good things that were presented at that meeting, that you can go to Sonoma Clean Power and go online and get these presentations. We had a presentation on the energy sector regulatory agencies, and how they make decisions. And I think for people that are really nerds like me, it's a very good presentation to show you how utilities work and how those decisions are made for all of us that use utilities in the state of California. We also had an update on the Sonoma Clean Power internship program. So that's something, if you know of people, young people that want to do interns, most of their interns they get from Sonoma Junior College, and because they actually like their interns to be at Sonoma Clean Power at their office, which is in Santa Rosa. And then we also had an update on the sponsored research at Princeton University for transmission planning under uncertainty, another kind of new process, new way of looking at all of the different issues around energy and transition to electrification, to be able to analyze where money needs to go now for transmission. So it was a really amazing study, and it's a way of showing people, even though you may not think the money needs to go to transmission now, this is what allows us to move towards electrification. We can electrify everything, but if we don't have a way to transmit everything, it doesn't matter. So anyway, so it was a very fascinating story. So as with other members of City Council, attended the Long Beach Cal Cities, where I also attended the many different sessions, but the Latino Caucus meeting and their presentations. On October 12th, I attended the Catalyst Report on Aging in Sonoma Valley. Also another report I think is good for people to go and look up. On December 18th, I attended, along with about 2,000 other Sonomans, the No Kings event here in Sonoma. On October 21st, all right, thank you. I attended the Sonoma Collaborative presentation on their affordable housing roadmap. Another thing that you can go to the Sonoma Collaborative and look at that roadmap for what they're suggesting. That was attended by our city manager was there, developers were there, all of the nonprofit housing development organizations supporting housing, supporting those that are unhoused. It was a really well-attended event, and many of the people that were there mentioned how proud they were of Sonoma Valley in pulling this together and really pulling together a good roadmap, how necessary it is to bring all of those people together to work on that, and that this is not being done in many other places in the way that we're doing it. So that was really exciting to attend. And then on the October 23rd, I attended a website presentation by our Attorney General, Rob Bonte, that was presented by the Latino Caucus. Then on December 31st through November 3rd, I traveled to Mexico, to Guadalajara, and then from Guadalajara traveled to Michoacan, to Pátzcuaro, and Pátzcuaro is our sister city in Mexico. So we were there, and it was a very exciting trip because we were there for Dios los Muertos, and that is what they say in Mexico. It is really the biggest celebration in Mexico, and it was amazing and colorful, and the cultural art was absolutely beyond belief. There was one event of Catrinas, which are women that dress up in these amazing costumes, and they are dressed as calaveras, so in their skeleton paint underneath in these beautiful dresses. It reminded me of trash and fashion. I mean, it was so incredible. But the thing is, to be able to do something kind of like that, to have more Dios de los Muertos represented in trash and fashion would be great, Catrinas. So we attended the Day of the Dead event on the Pátzcuaro Plaza. We met with Presidente Julio Vasquez, his wife Andrea Rodriguez, and their staff. We had a tour of Pátzcuaro. They have a really amazing convent there. It was a very historic site for Mexico of supporting the Cristianos, so the movement in Mexico to support the Catholic religion when the Mexican government was trying to get rid of the Catholic religion in Mexico. But so there's a lot of significant history there. And then we attended a cultural event at the Central Cultural Antiguo Colegio Jesuita Museo, where they were having a event where they basically, all of the different types of crafts, whether it was making clothing, whether it was pottery, whether it was, paintings, they had guitars there. And so it was they had all of the local artists participating, and then, brought prizes to those winners. And in attendance was the governor of Michoacan and also the director of culture of all of Mexico. So we were able to really partake in a lot of fabulous events. And then we also got a number of gifts. So we got the lovely bag from Pátzcuaro. They got a lovely bag from Sonoma, California. They looked very similar. And so they gave me this beautiful book, which we will share. But this is about Gertrudis, who was a insurgente, la insurgente. So she was a revolutionary woman in Mexico that lived in Pátzcuaro. And then also, the best gift, I'll show you the last. I don't know how we're going to share it all. But this is a history of all of the different spaces and history and exchanges, different places of community in Pátzcuaro. So we got both of those. And then, last but not least, so when we were in City Hall, they brought out a big jug of what looked like water, but wasn't water. It was actually mezcal, and then everybody handed out these little plastic cups where each had a shot of the, and I made the mistake of doing it like the shots, so no, you have to sip it, so they had to give me more. So, and then they said, oh, maybe the mayor will come in and have one with us too, and he did. So we have, this is mezcal from producers in Pátzcuaro, and it's made from 7 different of the agave plants. So we'll figure out a way. Yeah, I know. I know, it's very good. It is very, very good. So, with sister cities and, members, we'll figure out a way to celebrate and to honor this bottle. All right, thank you. So that's my report. And now we'll move back, thank you, to report to see if we have any comments or reports from our city manager.
Great, thank you, Mayor. A couple updates. First is the update on the SNAP benefit delays. Unfortunately, we are still seeing delays in the rollout of SNAP benefits. Yesterday, the County Board of Supervisors allocated $1 million to the food bank to try to help bridge that gap. The city is currently working with the food bank right now on 2 fronts. One is to bring a food drive and fund drive to the plaza to bring awareness and bring resources to this. And also, I'm working with the food bank right now to identify the various cities' allocations of SNAP so we can identify if there's any additional funding gaps we need to help in addition to the county's funding. The Sonoma Valley Catalyst Fund has developed a donation resource page. You can go on there to get resources on where to help and to get benefits. The Redwood Empire Food Bank also just released a new program called a Simple Gesture. And basically, if you have items that you want to donate and purchase additional things at the store when you're at the store, you can sign up online and people will come by and pick it up at your doorstep. You could also sign up to be a volunteer to pick them up at the doorsteps for people as well. So that's a new program that just got released. So more to come on that. Please visit the Redwood Empire Food Bank page if you need assistance. They have a lot of resources and they're taking this very seriously. The Hazard Mitigation Plan public meeting is tomorrow. So that is Thursday, November 6th from 5:30 to 7 at the Sonoma Valley Fire District Headquarters on 2nd Street. That's a Sonoma County multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan, mouthful, essentially identifying risks and how we mitigate those risks for natural disasters and throughout the county. Obviously, the city has a role in that. Our fire department will be there. We'll be there. The city will be there to talk about those impacts and how we're managing those moving forward. If you can't attend, you can comment on this draft online on the county's webpage or the city's webpage. You can go to both sites. Additionally, we're going to have a controlled pile burns at Montini Preserve on Friday, November 7th. That's this Friday. The Ecology Center is going to conduct a controlled pile burn as part of their to reduce wildfire risk. It's funded by the California State Coastal Conservancy. If you see smoke coming from the north of the plaza, don't be alarmed on Friday. That's what that's about. It will be controlled, and the fire department does a great job on that. Obviously, the weather dependent, if the wind shifts, other things happen, they may have to change that, but we will blast that information out on all of our social media sites. This Thursday also is the November 6th is the Sonoma Art Walk. It's the first Thursday of each month, so come downtown, check out downtown from 5 to 7. On Saturday, we have the volunteer work day at the Veterans Cemetery and Mountain Cemetery. So if you want to come out and help help clean up our cemeteries and be part of getting that ready for Veterans Day, we'd love to have you out there. It's from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can stay as long or as short as you want, but we'd love to see everybody out there if you have time. The city offices will be closed next Tuesday for Veterans Day. And then a quick update on the Napa Street paving. So that does impact a lot of people driving down Napa Street here in Sonoma. That project has started. They've been out there over the past week. They plan to do more work this week and a lot of work next week in terms of, and hopefully paving by the end of the week. So they have to do some prep work in the beginning of the week and pave. Everything will be paved, but the striping won't be there. Typically need 6 or 7 days before you pave those. Put the striping on, so you may see some temporary striping up there until the permanent's on there. But again, that's weather dependent. Hopefully we get some dry days coming up for the next week, and then you'll see that project complete. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. And I would like our Mr. Rudeman, do we have our city attorney? Do we have any comments from you?
Sure, yeah. Today I actually attended a webinar with Cal Cities about SB 707, which is the new Brown Act amendment. So I spoke about this a few months ago. The main changes to the Brown Act won't impact Sonoma. It will impact cities that have a population of 30,000 or more, or counties of 30,000 or more. So Santa Rosa, Sonoma County, Petaluma, those you will see slightly different meetings formats. They're required to have Zoom remote participation by the public. They're required to do additional translations, etc. So it'll be interesting. That will go into effect July of next year. But it's worth knowing because you may have some residents who question, our process, given that it's going to be slightly different than some of the larger jurisdictions. There are some parts of SB 707 that will impact us. The remote meeting attendance by council members, which we talk about as a just cause or emergency circumstance meeting attendance, that has been slightly revamped. It's kind of been streamlined, so there's basically just one just cause, essentially what it is, to appear. There is the option for the council to decide whether or not subsidiary bodies that are advisory only can meet using remote teleconferencing. So this wouldn't include Planning Commission because Planning Commission makes final determinations, but potentially an advisory body that is simply advisory that makes recommendations only. So we'll look into that more about what kind of options those are to help, make sure that we've got a quorum. I know sometimes that's a concern. And then there's another interesting part that I think Councilmember Lowe may already know about. There's a provision that allows certain multi-jurisdictional bodies to meet remotely. So a multi-jurisdictional body would be like a joint powers authority where you have representatives of a city and a county and a special district. But there is a caveat that if you have to be more than 20 miles from the meeting location, and so I just Googled Sonoma to Santa Rosa and it says 21 miles. So there may not be as much wiggle room, but maybe if you've got a jurisdiction that meets in, San Rafael or something, there may be some abilities to do remote teleconferencing for that. True, but it depends. I didn't put in the actual address, so if it meets on the east side of Santa Rosa, then you're probably out of luck. But of course, it depends on where you live as well. So, and that is my report. We'll be working up a memo for staff and discussing the different options with them going forward.
Thank you, Mayor. Can I make one clarification?
Yes.
On the paving update I gave was for Spain Street, not Napa, so I apologize for my misspeaking.
Oh, good. I was wondering, I was thinking, I drove down Napa Street today, I must have been asleep. All right. I know. All right, so now I'm really proud to be able to make a special presentation. So I'll make this, we have a proclamation because of November being Native American Heritage Month. And so I'll make that proclamation, I'll read it here. And then after I read it, I'm going to invite up our tribal council member at large, Robert Stafford from the Federated Indians of Grattan Rancheria. And so this is a very, I'm really honored to be able to read this proclamation. Because Native American Heritage Month is observed each November to honor the rich and diverse cultures, histories, and contributions of Native Americans into a nationwide recognition formally established by Congress in 1990. And whereas the city of Sonoma is located within the ancestral territory of the Federated Indians of Grattan Rancheria, descendants of the Coast Miwok and the Southern Poma peoples who have lived in harmony with the land since time immemorial, nurturing its ecosystems and preserving their cultural heritage. And whereas the history of Native Americans is marked by resilience and strength in the face of tremendous challenges, including colonization, displacement, and cultural assimilation, which has shaped their ongoing fight for sovereignty and recognition. And whereas the federal Indians of the Grattan Rancheria play a vital role in our community, contributing to the cultural, economic, and social fabric of Sonoma County, the state of California, and nationally through education, advocacy, and cultural preservation. And whereas acknowledging and celebrating Native American Heritage Month promotes awareness of the injustices faced by Native Americans and fosters respect and understanding among all members of our community. And whereas the city of Sonoma is committed to inclusivity and values the contribution of all cultures that enrich our community, I now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of Sonoma does hereby proclaim the month of November 2025 as Native American Heritage Month in the city of Sonoma, encouraging all residents to reflect upon the histories, cultures, and contributions of the Federated Indians of Grattan Rancheria and all Native American people. Be it further resolved that the City Council calls upon residents to engage in educational programs, events, and activities that promote awareness and appreciation of Native American culture and heritage, and seeks to build partnership with Federated Indians of Grattan Rancheria to honor their traditions and histories. I have hereinto set my hand and caused the official seal of the City of Sonoma of California to be fixed to this 5th day of November 2025. And at this moment, I will ask you if you would please come to, I'm going to introduce you to everybody here in the audience. Robert Stafford, who's the Tribal Council Member at Large, Robert Stafford of the Federated Indians of Grant and Rancheria. Did you have anything you would like to say? And then I will present it to you so we can have our photos taken.
I did not write a speech, but on behalf of the Federated Indians of Great Rancheria, I accept your proclamation and also your acknowledgement. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you very
Can I-
much.
Can I clarify one thing?
Yes, please.
It is Grayton.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I
because
apologize.
it reads
It's great.
Groton,
Yeah.
but it is Grayton.
You know, I left Pascuaro, and after 3 days there, finally, they kept correcting me. I thought I was pronouncing the Cuadro wrong, but I was putting the T in. And when on my way out, they said, you don't use the T. I'm like, okay.
It happens
Great.
everywhere. It
Well,
happens
thank you
everywhere.
so much. I appreciate. Nope, stay there. We have to take a photo. We want to present this
Okay.
to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
All right, so now we are going to be moving on to our agenda, I believe. And we're moving on to item 7, our consent calendar. So just so that everybody is aware that all items listed on the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be acted upon by a single motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless members of the council or staff request specific items to be removed for separate action. But after we ask the council if they want to pull any items, there is room for public comment. So at this point, is there any member of the council that would like to, has comments or would like to remove any of the items on our consent calendar to be discussed separately? Seeing none, I will then ask for public comments. If there's anybody that'd like to make any public comments regarding the items that are on the consent calendar. All right, seeing none, I will ask for a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
All right, okay, upon that, all those in favor? Aye. There, thank you. So we do not have a public hearing tonight, so I'm going to move on to our regular calendar item. And so tonight, which I have a feeling this is why you're all here, we have a study session to discuss legal and procedural requirements for mobile home park closures and conversions under the City of Sonoma existing municipal ordinance, municipal code, and recent legislative changes under AB 2782 and SB 610. And our Community Development Director, Jennifer Gates, is going to present this to us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Good evening. So this summer, mobile home owners and residents reached out to the city and city staff and city council to discuss an update to the city's municipal code regarding mobile home park closures and conversions as allowed under AB 2782, which was adopted in 2020 by the state. Before discussing changes to the existing city mobile home park closure and conversion ordinance, this study session is intended to provide an overview of the city's current mobile home park ordinances, the existing closure and conversion process, and to update the updates needed to comply with state laws. The city of Sonoma has 3 mobile home parks with over 450 total units: Moon Valley, Pueblo Serena, and Sonoma Oaks. These units are recognized for providing an important source of affordable housing in the community. The city has 3 ordinances that regulate mobile home parks. The first is Chapter 9.80, which provides protection to mobile home park tenants from substantial rent increases, while at the same time recognizing the need of mobile home park management to receive a fair return and a process for addressing capital improvement needs. Chapter 9.82 provides regulations to mitigate impacts of relocation upon mobile home park residents and owners when a park closes or is converted to a different use. This is the focus of today's study session. Chapter 9.84 is the third and provides a process for the conversion of a mobile home park to resident ownership. So first, we wanted to focus on Chapter 9.82, mobile home park conversions. As previously noted, this is the focus of our study session tonight. This chapter establishes the rules and processes required when a property owner proposes to close or convert an existing mobile home park to a different use. The City Council adopted this chapter because the conversion or closure of mobile home parks can have a substantial adverse effect on residents due to the high cost of relocation, the difficulty of finding similar affordable replacement housing, and the scarcity of comparable mobile home spaces in the area. This chapter is intended to mitigate the adverse effects in accordance with state law and at the discretion of City Council. So to close or convert a mobile home park, there are a few steps in the application and review process. The first is that any person applying to change the use, close, or cease operations of a mobile home park must file a comprehensive mobile home relocation impact report. The city will select an independent consultant to prepare this report at the cost of the applicant. The report must provide detailed information on the park, its residents, the proposed new use, and a list of comparable mobile home parks within Sonoma County. The report must also estimate the full cost of relocating mobile homes. It must also estimate the fair market value of any mobile homes that cannot be reasonably relocated to another comparable park. The park owner must also provide a free copy of this report and a copy of this chapter to all residents at least 15 days before the public hearing. Additionally, any new and prospective residents must also be notified if a conversion application has been filed. The City Council must hold a public hearing on this report once complete and the conversion application within 30 days of receiving that completed report. In order to approve the conversion, closure, or cessation of use, the council must make specific written findings based on the evidence presented regarding specific factors and any others they deem appropriate. These include the relocation impact report, which provides the required information by state law and the city code and provides this adequately. There are available mobile home lots within Sonoma County to accommodate the displaced mobile homes at the time of conversion. Options are provided to residents that are disrupted by the conversion. City Council must also find that the relocation plan provides for reasonable cost of relocation and that the proposed conversion will not harm public health, safety, and general welfare. If the conversion is proposed is to another residential use, that there are opportunities for residents to purchase or rent these new units, and if the displacement would be for an unreasonably long time. If the City Council cannot make the required findings or be able to impose sufficient mitigation measures to address these impacts, it must deny the application. If the application is approved, the City Council may impose reasonable conditions on the applicant to mitigate the impacts of relocation, which cannot exceed the reasonable cost of relocation documented within this report. These conditions may include relocation assistance and or payment of the cost of physically moving the mobile home to a new site, including its tear down, its new setup, and associated improvements, and packing and moving of personal property. or for the tenants, the cost of moving the personal property to a new home up to 50 miles. Payment of a lump sum to cover the first and last month's rent and security deposit in the new park. Payment of a lump sum to compensate for the difference between old park's rent and the new park's rent during that first year of the new tenancy. For homeowners whose mobile home cannot be reasonably relocated, payment of the fair market value of the mobile home. If the park is converted, setting aside affordable units for displaced residents, either on-site, if converted to residential, or off-site, if non-residential. The residents and applicant may also participate and agree to a mutually satisfactory conditions that can be included. Now I'm going to move on to the first state law. So in 2020, the state legislature adopted AB 2782 to revise the minimum standard for mobile home conversions codified within our government code. The state law now requires that the applicant compensate a mobile home occupant for the full in-place value of the mobile home based on an appraisal if the displaced occupant cannot be relocated to another park. Before AB 2782 and under our current code, the relocation assistant could not exceed the actual cost of relocation. The law also requires the city to make a finding that the proposed conversion will or will not reduce housing opportunities for low and moderate income households in the jurisdiction before approval of the application. And the applicant is required to provide a copy of this impact report to the mobile home owners or residents at least 60 days before the public hearing, rather than the current 15 days as stated in the city's current ordinance. So to comply with AB 2782, the city will need to make some changes to Chapter 9.82. The first is to amend the code to require that the report to contain in-place value that each mobile home would have if the park were not being closed. The value shall be determined by a state certified appraiser that's chosen by the city at the cost of the applicant. Also, an update to the notice requirement as well as the disclosure provision to reflect the required 60 days. Requiring the city council to make a finding as to whether a conversion will result in a shortage of affordable housing. Removing the language in the code that stating relocation assistance shall not exceed the reasonable cost of relocation, which is not applicable anymore, and to require the applicant to pay in-place market value of any displaced resident's mobile home if the resident cannot be relocated to another mobile home park. And the state this month October. It's November already. Adopted SB 610. The bill contains certain provisions that the mobile home park owner is responsible for in the event of a disaster, as defined by this law. So they actually defined what is a disaster in the law. And this includes, but is not limited to, that the impact report required for conversion or closure shall also include a technical service inspection report from the Department of Housing and Community Development that identifies the observed conditions within the park, and that the mobile home park owner is not required to pay to the displaced resident the in-place market value of the displaced resident's mobile home. So the city will need to incorporate these provisions into Chapter 9.82 to comply with the new state law. So staff will schedule another study session that's proposed on December 3rd to request policy direction for a future ordinance, including review of what is optionally permitted under state law AB 2782, including the requests and concerns provided by the mobile home residents and mobile home park owners. And mobile homeowners. Based on the city council direction, staff will develop a proposed ordinance to bring back at a future meeting in early 2026. City staff will continue to work with our residents and mobile home park owners through the process to ensure everyone has the time and forum to provide input prior to the public hearing. So tonight, staff is not requesting any direction, but rather wants to hear any questions that council may have, along with any request for additional information. Public comments have been received on this item. The original request from the mobile home owners and residents was attached to the staff report, and additional public comments were received from a couple of the mobile home park owners / management companies. And these were available to you prior to the meeting. So this concludes staff's presentation.
Great, thank you very much. At this point, thank you. At this point, we will take questions from council members. Do we have any questions? Yes, Councilmember.
Not a
Wellander.
question, but a request. Could you bring back on the next hearing a total count of the affordable housing units we have in the city? It's been identified we have somewhere between 450 and 488 relative to the 3 current parks, but I'd like to know what the gross or the total number of affordable housing units we have in the city. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? Oh, so I have one question. Could you go to the slide in regards to disasters, SB 610? I understand the last one, the mobile home park owner is not required to pay the displaced resident the in-place market value of the displaced resident's mobile home in case of disaster. I assume that means they're expecting that the mobile home owners, not the mobile home park owner, would have insurance on their mobile homes, and that's why. But is there anything within that that helps compensate renters or to assist renters that would be in that situation? Or would that be the responsibility of the mobile home owner that is renting to that person? Do we know? No?
I am not aware of anything in this bill that pertains to the residents themselves, but we will look closer into it and get back to you on the December 3rd meeting.
Yeah, we will do that. I think that SB 610 is only exempting the park owners from having to pay this additional cost, but all the other requirements of the impact report would still apply were there to be a conversion after a natural disaster.
All right, thank
So
you.
I do think that, based on my understanding of SB 610, that the other protections for renters, for example, would still be in place. This is only one single exemption.
In case there was closure or conversion. All right.
Right, after the natural disaster.
After the event. Great. Thank you very much. So at this point, what we're going to do is we are going to open this up for public comment. So I think, let's see the best way. Can you just, everybody raise your hand that would like to make a public comment? And it's good. And if someone wants to, before later on, decide to make a comment, that's fine. I just wanted that this way, you could line up if you wish, but there's not so many of you. Maybe we just try to go one that, whoever gets up next. I'm just trying to make the flow easy for you.
5.
All right. Okay, there's about 5, so we should be good. All right.
Shall I start?
Yes, you may start.
The counter. Thank you, council and staff. Lynn Marie DeVincent, Tri-Park Committee. The communities within the Tri-Parks of Sonoma applaud your efforts on this process to upgrade the 2004 closure and conversion ordinance, and we appreciate tonight's opportunity for all the stakeholders to hear the presentation and hopefully take us all forward in this educational phase. May the record show that there are approximately 74 homeowners here in support of our campaign. Could everybody raise your hand if you're in support? Thank you. And there are many more who could not attend who are in their 90s and 100s. And as you have outlined, the current ordinance has some good baseline sections that should be retained. And as noted, there are significant gaps that need to be bridged. I prefer to call them additions. For example, the memo on the proposed conversion and closure ordinance from Attorney Willem Constantine states, quote, Government Code Section 65863.72B requires a finding on whether the approval of a mobile home park to its intended new use will result in or materially contribute to a shortage of housing that is affordable to low and moderate income households within the city of Sonoma. So if the city wishes to enforce this section, it requires the city to adopt a more stringent local regulation and to reject a proposed conversion or closure if it is determined that the approval will result in the loss of that low-income affordable housing. Sonoma's current ordinance does not contain such a provision. So this is an addition that we respectfully request that needs to be included in the upgrade. Thank
So
you.
since there's so few of you, I'm going to allow us to have 3 minutes each.
Whoa.
So if you want to continue, I'm sorry, if you want to continue on, I should have said that earlier.
Thank you. I actually was prepared for 2, but my conclusion was a little rushed. So, I do want to emphasize what we've chosen to do tonight is to outline each of these new additions that have been suggested or recommended. And so I thank you for your contribution to this. Thank you.
Thank you. Lynn Marie.
Good evening, council and staff. I'm Bonnie Joy Costlon, President, Moon Valley Homeowners Association. We are embarking on a transparent, stakeholder, inclusive journey to update the 2004 Conversion Closure Ordinance so that it will meet current state legislation and address Sonoma's specific needs for its 3 mobile home parks. We stakeholder homeowners recognize that our living situation is a uniquely hybrid one. We own our homes and are also required to invest in the park owner specified required standards for the space/land we lease. Landowners are often a corporation, large or small, with answerable investors. The current 2004 ordinance and the proposed draft ordinance presented by the homeowners and state legislation contain provisions for displaced homes and homeowners. However, it is important to remember that these homes were purchased many years ago as affordable housing while the owner was working and able to qualify to lease the land in their current community. The required income formula of 3 times land rent space to qualify to live in another park will disqualify many folks, especially our elders. Federal HUD guidelines also state that mobile homes built prior to 1976 may not be moved, and some parks may not accept homes older than 5 to 10 years. Most homes here in Sonoma have been built prior to 1976. If there were a closure or conversion, a majority, mostly elders, would lose their homes, resulting in displacement. Please keep in mind the importance of the update with all of the recommendations from the homeowners. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Ann Colachitas, 14 Hacienda. What a crowd we have here today. And, you know, in the interest of your time, you know, a lot more people could be making public comment, but out of respect for your time and your process, I think that people are restraining themselves. Okay? So I thank you
We very much appreciate your organization.
Thank you for the extra minute. The closure and the study time you have here tonight. The closure of a mobile home park results in the dispossession and dispersal of hundreds of people. Homeowners are dislocated and the community itself is erased. As a gerontologist, I'm speaking now of elders in our mobile home parks, a population whose ages can span 5 decades. Mobile home parks are long-standing, supportive communities where older adults build stability, friendship, and mutual care that allow them to age with dignity and independence. For many, the homes they live in are the largest or only asset that they own. And when a park closures, they're often forced to abandon that home, and this loss is experienced as grief, identity disruption, and deep insecurity. Equally harmful is the loss of community care network. Neighbors who check in daily, share meals, provide rides. This informal caregiving is one of the strongest predictors of elder health, well-being, and longevity. In these communities, the natural arc of aging is in full view. When elders are displaced, the security of their home is lost, and their support system fractures. The research is well documented. Forced displacement in late life increases depression, institutionalization, hospitalization, and premature mortality, and they are preventable. In Sonoma County, there are few places for displaced elders to go, and there exists a real gap in the ordinance between mitigation in the city's relocation impact report and successful relocation for all. Park closure is a result of policy choices, and that is why I'm grateful for this opportunity to reflect on our values, our local conditions, and to bring Sonoma's policies in line with modern standards. Please, we respectfully request that the council ask city staff to present to you the full ordinance which Sonoma's homeowners submitted for your full consideration at the December 3rd meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, good evening. I'm Caitlin Cornwall, and I'm here as Sonoma Valley Collaborative, which, as you know, is a cross-sector coalition that is really focusing on housing affordability for people in Sonoma Valley. And I know you've heard me say this before, but mobile home park residents are roughly 10% of the city's population, roughly speaking, and mobile homes are pretty much the last unsubsidized kind of lower cost housing that we have in the valley and in the city. So a lot of different members of the Sonoma Valley Collaborative Coalition are working with us on this issue because of all kinds of different kinds of people who have been lost from our community over the years because of the extreme cost of living here. And mobile home park residents are a group of people who your policy choices can really quite clearly give housing stability to as a result of these exact decisions. And right now they do not have it. And I'm sure you can imagine if someone loses their mobile home, they are, if their home is assessed as at fair market value, that is not going to be enough for them to actually live here in the future. It's just, so the payments and other types of assistance that are provided in Sonoma's future ordinance need to be beefy enough that we and they can really feel assured that if their park closes, they can stay in their community. And it's a pretty high bar because it's very expensive here. But if the city doesn't want to lose this population, that is really what the ordinance will need to be built to achieve. And I guess the only other thing I would say, you know, there's a number of ways to make that possible. There's the way that the value of a payment is calculated. There's also, it's important to properly calculate the value of the resident's own investment in their home and in their land. You know, this is this curious hybrid model where these residents are investing both in the home that they live in and also they're paying for years and years and years for their space rent. And those are both types of investment that they make in their home. And studies have shown that over the years that someone is in a mobile home park, generally they are investing more than the park owner is. And so that comparison should enter into the calculations of how much their home is worth when or if they are displaced. There's a lot of complicated things to consider in this ordinance, and we, our coalition, Sonoma Valley Collaborative, working with the mobile home groups, will be providing more written suggestions for ways that we think the Sonoma ordinance needs to go beyond the minimum requirements that the state is now putting out there and take a stand that really expresses the desire to retain these people in our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. John Kyle, 14 Hacienda, Pueblo Serena Mobile Home Park. I'd like to ask this council to please consider that we brought a full ordinance revision with us tonight. It's included in the agenda packet under public comment. It's based on Sonoma's current ordinance. It incorporates every requirement of AB 2782 and adds some local options too. The draft was written and paid for at considerable expense, and it was paid for by the mobile home owners of Sonoma. It was prepared by Will Constantine, who is uniquely qualified for this task. Mark Stone, when he authored AB 2782, tapped Will Constantine to draft the bill's text. Since then, Will has written AB 2782 compliant ordinances for both Watsonville and the county of Santa Cruz. Will's no stranger to Sonoma either. He helped with the city's recent rent stabilization ordinance, which brought peace here while legal battles have been raging in cities all around us. The ordinance we brought to you tonight aims to continue that peace. Remember, AB 2782 only sets minimums. It also gives localities latitude to go further, adopting stronger measures suited to local conditions, things like preserving the unique affordable housing of Sonoma. It also prevents sham closures, which are designed to circumvent rent control ordinances. This is a tactic we've seen play out throughout the county and throughout the state as well. Mr. Constantine studied Sonoma's housing element closely before drafting this ordinance. The package includes both the draft ordinance and a memo from Will that walks point by point through all of its features. Together they form a complete package for your review. We request the council ask staff to consider the adoption of this draft ordinance when we return in December. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have anybody else that would like to make a public comment? Yes?
Which I really appreciate. I'm Diane Lumiere. I also live at Pueblo Serena. It was mentioned before, but I want to add that these are not just units sitting on lots. These are homes, and we have invested thousands and thousands of dollars on our gardens. We've employed many people in town as plumbers and gardeners and construction people to help us. We are responsible for every aspect of our homes, our roofs, our siding, everything that you can imagine as any home in town would have. So to think of us as kind of a displaceable group of people is totally errant. We are as big a homeowners as anyone in this town. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, and now I'm going to bring it back to the council for a discussion or in comments. Councilwoman Lowe?
Thank you, and thank you all for showing up. And I'm always impressed by the research that you do, how clear you are in terms of knowledge of the ordinances and so forth. It's very refreshing. It's something we don't always see, and I just want to commend all of you for that, and also mention that one of the reasons that I've been so insistent about that park on the corner of 5th Street West and MacArthur is that you all have informed me of the need and have also informed me of the fact I didn't even know before I ran that that was owned by the city and zoned as a park. So you know a lot about what's going on in the city, and your expertise, especially in my district, because some of you know we now have districts on the city council, and all of the mobile home parks are in my district. So I feel very attached to all of you, and you are my neighbors, and you're as important to me as any of the neighbors on my street are, and I have advocated for them from time to time, including the time when they wanted to take away all our trees, and I made that was before everybody's time here. You would have loved it, though, I guarantee you. We saved about 70 trees. Yeah. So, I've heard a lot of that you appreciate what we're doing so far. I think we're on the right track. As far as, you have an ordinance that has been drafted by someone you trust and someone who obviously has incredible stature in this community and knowledge and so forth. And, our process is that we also have people who we trust and know and, are going to be able to work with that. I don't think in any way we would ignore the suggestions that come forward. But rarely do we have, someone say, well, here it is, put your name on this one. So there'll be a conversation about it. But I don't, from my perspective anyway, and the way I've seen things come forward on this council, is that it's very helpful that you provide that because it's very detailed and very knowledgeable. And we'll look at it in terms of what our experts say as well. And I know we will come up with something that will meet all of our needs. I feel very confident of that. Because, at least from my perspective, having sat on this council now for almost 4 years, we have always prioritized housing. And we prioritized it this year, and it's not just something we say. We just were able to save some affordable housing units through some incredible advocacy and putting our Affordable Housing Trust Fund to good use. It's not just something we say. I think every member on this council truly believes that it's an important thing to do. And so this is critical that we get it right. So I just want to say that I've heard the comments. I really look forward to having the full discussion and, putting the meat on the bones, and everything that has been said and contributed will be taken into account. And, but very rarely is it like, someone presents something and we go, okay, yeah, that's fine. We have to put our folks to work too, because they're really knowledgeable as well, and they may come up with something better, and you may like it better. So let's give them a chance as well. But under no circumstances would we ignore the contributions of your attorney, the proposed ordinance that you've suggested, or the comments that you've given, because that's what's going to make this thing work. That's what's going to make it a stronger ordinance. And from my perspective, I just appreciate everyone in this room and the time that you've put together to make this presentation. And it will not be ignored. It is taken very, very seriously, I think, by all of us. But certainly from my perspective, because I'm speaking for myself, I really appreciate it. So I just wanted to say that, and I don't really have any questions any more than that. I just wanted to make that comment as someone who, now that we have these district things, I feel very personally tied to this issue. So thank you.
District or no district, you're personally tied.
And you'll have to meet the new parks guy, because I think he's just going to be so excited to work with you on that park.
Any other questions or comments? Discussion. We're in discussion. You can still ask a question if you want to.
Yes, please. Thank you. Three items. One is the word reasonable pops up in a variety of places, and I know that we have been driven, forced, extorted to get rid of subjectivity. So my question is, when that word pops up as reasonable, who's determining what's reasonable? So that's one. The second thing is that I too recognize that the current residents of our three parks make up for a pretty special part of our fabric in this town. And I would hate to see that thread go elsewhere. So the comment was made by one of the speakers about ultimately the desire, if something were to need change, would be to stay local. But we recognize that it's expensive here. But what I'd like to challenge staff is to try to identify, you know, what we might be able to do to lessen, in terms of create some sort of structure that would lessen the exodus due to cost of Sonoma. And the last one is just to reiterate my fellow Councilwoman Sandra, as I too would like you to take this draft ordinances that's been provided and to at least simply review and give strong consideration and comment to us as to what you believe is in our best interest. Thank you.
Councilmember, thank you.
All right.
Councilmember Day?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everyone attending visiting the meeting. I know more people stay at home. Hopefully, they can watch and right now, and also they can watch later online. This is not only the mobile home issue, and I appreciate your comments. This is your home. Homes means everything. Yeah. So our city council and all the colleagues here standing with you. And I think we are on the right approach. A lot of the things depends on our knowledge, our experience, and complete or incomplete. So that we went and studied very hard. Today is the day one. Actually, we already started a couple of weeks ago. So that we were read it and thinking about it. And also we were asking questions and do the research by ourselves. So that we try to be compliant with the state and the law, and also we want to make full and flexibilities in favor of our house owner or our tenants here. Of course, we should also consider of the interest of the park lander, and because this is the capitalist system. However, under this kind of system, we want to try our best and to support our mobile home owner and homeowner, really homeowner, because you generated a lot of the job opportunities, make the contributions to our communities during the past decades. Very much appreciate. That is my comments, and we are very positive. We will work with you and try to get the best result. Thank you so much.
Councilmember Gurney?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for everybody who came out tonight, and I did have the opportunity to meet with Bonnie, Joy, and talk about the issues that you've all presented tonight. My mother lived in a mobile home, and I've always had an appreciation for the availability that comes with mobile home opportunities. And even through our local Rotary, we've come out and done volunteer work in the various parks that are in the city here. And we get it. These are your homes. And it's a very interesting challenge to meet the needs of each and every one of you and those who own these mobile home parks. And we have received information from them. And what's interesting to me is they are equally interested in walking through this in a logical fashion so that their interests are represented as well as yours. And I think that we will be able to achieve that. What struck me was the ordinances that Watsonville, and there was another city mentioned? Santa Cruz. And my government experience would say, well, that would certainly be one of my first things to reach out to is take a look at their ordinances and compare them to what we're doing. So everything that was presented, the information that's been submitted, all of these things, I am totally confident that staff is going to take that. And when they come back to the city council with anything proposed, it will be quality. And it will be achieving our goals collectively. And if not, we send it back to staff and have them come back again. So, there's a lot of opportunity here for input, for collaboration, for comparison, discussion. I'm sorry that I don't have mobile home parks in my district, but
We gave them all to her.
yes, by design. Anyway, but I just truly appreciate the opportunity to work with you and to hear what you're thinking, and I know that city staff does as well. And we'll work our way through this, and I think it'll be fine. So.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with much of what I've heard here tonight from my fellow council members. I do want to say, though, that what is most important is the understanding that you have kind of a very interesting relationship that is different than others, but in my eyes, what's really most important, your relationship financially, that you own your mobile home, but you don't own the land that you're sitting on. And across the country, there's been many issues around this and many innovative approaches of how to address it, whether it's, mobile home owners, working together to own the land that they live on. I know that's a long-term process to do that, but, even if that's something that, in the meantime, somehow we're helping to work to see what's the best long-term solution to really ensure that you feel the same level of safety that any other homeowner feels. And that, to me, is what is most important. That you know that where you live is where you're going to be able to live until you choose not to live there any longer. So I think I really like this idea of looking at coming from a financial approach of understanding what market value is, because I think in the case, hopefully we're working so that there isn't a closure or a conversion. I mean, number one, that we don't want that to happen in the first place. So how do we protect so that doesn't happen? But in the case there was, the idea of market value, to me, the important word in that is value, not. To me, markets are kind of, I have difficulties with markets and what they represent sometimes. So, but the value, because the value in that home, as you spoke about here earlier, is not just, what you financially put into it, it's also the community that you've built. And that is something that is not easy to replace. So, and you've built really good communities up. The other thing I want to say, and it'll be the last thing I say, is that you are significant contributors to our community. Economically, right? Economically, who you are, you are part of the character of this community. And so I think, it's really important for us that we have that, as we're saying, my stepmother lived in, not my stepmother, my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law lived in a mobile home too, and I've walked through your mobile homes with Sandra, and, I've seen how lovely they are, the gardens, the work that goes into it. So I just, what you contribute as part of our city, just know that I recognize that. I believe everybody on the council here recognizes that. So hopefully this process we will be able to go through and understand, as in the detail, language matters, especially legal language matters, that we're very clear and we really understand the details and how we can build an ordinance that meets as many of your needs as we possibly can. So, thank you. And thank you for being here tonight. And being so organized, really, it is greatly appreciated. I think it really helps us as council members, understand more what you really need. So it makes it much easier for us to do our work. So thank you very much. So that we have one more item on our agenda, which we actually don't have anymore because we didn't have 10 speakers at the beginning. So the only last item we have is number 11, which is adjournment of this meeting. Thank you. So I hereby adjourn this meeting tonight.